So they dropped this tweet earlier and said, we're gearing up for the launch of OWCS. Learn everything you need to know about our competition details blog. I already saw some stuff from Twitter, and I'm a little concerned. I'm already a little concerned, but let's read it through and get there. The Overwatch Championship Series, OWCS, is a new, more open way for players across their regions to showcase their Overwatch skills. The new structure lets players and fans experience Overwatch esports like never before, and can't wait to see the amazing esports competition all year long. But how will it all work? We're here today to break down the North America, NA, and Europe, Middle East, and North Africa, EMEA regions, and give you everything you need to know to get involved. Got a lot to cover, so here's what to expect when you read on. 2024, okay, stages, schedule, circuit points, eligibility, face it, international, where to follow, conclusion. Okay, so we know this already. This is the season. Not a whole lot to really cover here. NA and EMEA will be divided into 4 stages of competition. So 1, 2, 3, 4, different from Asia. So let's focus mostly on this part for right now. First major is going to be in Dallas, DreamHack. Second one's going to be which is the final, at DreamHack Stockholm. We know that already. This is old info. I think this is old info as well, but each competition has 3 tournament phases: Swiss, group, and main event. The first phase kicks off with the open qualifier Swiss phase, up to 512 teams. Okay, we know all this. And a GSL style bracket where best 2 teams of each group will advance to the third and final phase, the main event, in an 8-team double elimination tournament. Okay, so this is all old info. We know about this, but this is a little bit new. Registration starts on January 30th and then ends on Monday, February 29th. Competition takes place from March 1st through 24th. Watch live on Overwatch Esports channels. Open registration, 4 weeks of play, 3-phase tournament. And then we get to prizing. That's finally been released. Circuit points from 1 through 16th place is 75,000 per region. That's a little low. Roster lock is February 29th. Week 1 of Swiss is March 1st through 3rd. Week 2 is March 8th through 10th. So I'm guessing these are on those weekends. Week 3 is March 16th and 17th. And then the main event is March 21st through 24th. OWCS NA EMEA Stage 2. So that's for Stage 1. Stage 2 is in April. Swiss roster lock is April 4th, which is going to be the day before the first week, which is April 5th through 7th. Week 2 is April 12th through 14th. Week 3 is April 20th through 21st. And then the main event being the 25th through 28th. The major, the big one, roster lock is on April 4th. Whoa, okay. So you can't make any changes from your team from Stage 2 to the major. But you can make changes from Stage 1 to Stage 2. So Stage 1, your roster lock is February 29th. Stage 2 is April 4th, but it stays that through the major, which isn't until May 31st through June 2nd, which is pretty big, considering you can have a whole meta shift between April and the end of May. Let's say it's a Reinhardt Rush meta, as if, but let's just say it was, and then all of a sudden it swings to like a Sigma meta, right? Like, oh shit, if you don't have a Sigma player, you might be screwed. So that's pretty major. Stage 3, which is the second half of the season, will start the roster locks on August 15th. First rounds of games August 16th through 18th. Second round, August 23rd through 25th. Third round, August 31st through September 1st. And week 4 main event, September 5th through 8th. That's for Stage 3. Stage 4 starts a couple weeks after. Roster lock is on the 19th of September. And then September 20th through 22nd for first week. September 27th through 29th for second week. October 5th through 6th for third week, and the main event being October 10th through 13th. Your roster lock still stays from Stage 4. Same thing as Stage 2 before. And then the finals is November 22nd through 24th. Dude, that's a big jump from October being your last games and your roster lock being September to November. Like, you can have a major meta. A whole new hero could come out in that point. As mentioned, the OWCS season will have 4 stages across the year, with top performers collecting circuit points to determine who qualifies for the year's international LAN events. Okay, so let's go to the circuit points. Circuit points will be the vital feature of OWCS in the NA and EMEA regions. They will be used to determine which teams advance into our international LAN events to be represented by North America and EMEA regions. How exactly does the circuit point system work, And how does that correlate with prizing for stages? Let's take a deeper look. Prizing, the NA and EMEA region, OWCS regions will each have a $300,000 USD up for grabs. That's different than the other number we saw. Okay, well, I think there's more then, but with international events featuring a crowdfunding model. Oh, sorry, this is for the majors? With international events featuring a crowdfunding model similar to the Overwatch or 2023 Overwatch World Cup. We'll share more details about crowdfunding as we get closer to DreamHack Dallas. Okay, I have a lot of thoughts on this, but let's keep going. The top 16 teams for each OWCS stage open qualifier will earn circuit points and prizing based off of their performance in groups and main event phases. The higher you place, the more points and prizing you earn, and the further into the season we get, the more valuable your circuit points become for strong performances. Okay, so here's the points and prizing breakdown. So it looks like for each stage, actually, wait a minute. So stage 1, you get up to 50 points. Stage 2, you get up to 100 points. Stage 3, you get up to 100 points. And stage 4, you get up to 150 points. So, but here's the big thing. If you place first, you get 30,000, which isn't a lot. Now, you might be saying, Flats, 30,000 is a lot of money. That's 30,000 divided by 5 for the 5 players on the team. And that's only if they have 5 players. What if they have more than 5 players, right? So every team, every pro team typically has, let's say, 5 players, and then they'll say 1 sub for each role. 1 DPS sub, 1 tank sub, 1 support sub, right? So now we're up to 8 plus a coach, 9. So if you take 30,000, divide that by 9, that's about $3,333 per player for first place. If you drop it to second place, that goes in half to 15,000, which I'm no mathematician, but 15,000 divided by 9 is 1,600 per player. And that's for multiple months of competition. And that's if you get top 2. The third place, you're dropping even lower. 4th place, 5th place, 6th place. Even in a best case scenario where they only have 5 players and no coach, right? That's still 5 or 6,000 per player, right? That's best case scenario for first place. That's a little worrying. Now, granted, you could say, well, like, what about the major? Well, I have a lot to think about crowdfunding stuff, because crowdfunding can be good, but we'll get to that. Path to Poverty 2.0. If you're in 9 through 12, 13 through 16, you get 0, by the way. And if you get 7th and 8th, 2,500 to split between your 5 players, or even 8 or 9, depending. Like, let's say even best case scenario, you have 5 players and a coach, right? So you're gonna have 6 people, right? I'd say. So you get 5,000 a player, and then if 15,000 for second place divided by 6, so you get 2,500 a player. So even if you get second place and you have just 5-player roster plus a coach, you're getting $2,500 for multiple months of work. That's not very good. That's pretty bad. That's like gonna be below minimum wage for the amount of hours they're put in. You know what I mean? Like, oh boy. That's quite concerning. Let's keep reading, and then we'll come back to crowdfunding after. There are 2 ways to earn a place at DreamHack Major under the circuit point system: qualify via points or win select stages. At the end of the Stage 2 main event, the tournament winners in the NA EMEA, alongside the top 2 remaining teams by points in NA and EMEA, will earn a spot to the OWCS Major. So the tournament winners, so whoever wins Stage 2, and then the top scoring points teams. So what happens if you make it to the finals and then lose? If you don't have enough points? I mean, I'm assuming by the point system you'd probably still make it. Like, what happens if you made second in Stage 1? There's a chance. That's, I guess, a little bit more complicated. But at the conclusion of the Stage 4 main event, the same process will determine our DreamHack Stockholm attendees with stage 1, 2, 3, 4 results factoring into a team's qualification. Whoa. So, okay, so for the first major, if you win the second stage, you're in. And if you don't win, but you have the top points, the top 2 points teams make it as well. Okay. Interesting. The Asia region will function a little bit differently. They will not have circuit points and instead have the top 2 teams of the OWCS Stage 1 Championship and the Stage 2 Championship will earn a DreamHack berth, joining the 6 qualifying teams from NA and EMEA in each respective event. So if you win Stage 1 in Asia, you just not have to play in Stage 2, you're already in. With this new circuit point system, teams and players will need to be careful when constructing their rosters. While circuit points will remain with players, we want to incentivize rosters sticking together in the ecosystem. Head to the official OWCS EMEA rulebook to learn more. We're finalizing how you can view circuit point totals at this time. We'll post an update on X when we feature... I can't believe they called it X. When this feature goes live, and we can track the standings throughout the season. Okay, let's talk about crowdfunding, okay? Crowdfunding can be really good, right? Crowdfunding can be really good. We saw it with World Cup. But I'm worried about a few things. One, the World Cup skins that were not like the Sojourn skins and whatnot were kind of bland, right? Like the Sojourn skin low-key kind of carried the World Cup skins. And so when you go into a format where you do crowdfunding, you can't be giving the crowdfunding stuff like the low-tier skins. You know what I mean? Like I guess I understand like if they wanted to make it all uniform, like, oh, they're all together. They were good for drops, like as a free item for watching World Cup streams. Beautiful, very good. But for people to buy, like they were also making people buy the bundles to contribute to the crowdfunding that were not the Sojourn skin. They're kind of bland, like they're really not that good. And so when you go into this format, you have to all in, and they need top tier support. Like if you're gonna bank on your community, bankrolling your prize pool, your community should also be getting rewarded with what you would consider a top tier item, right? Like that's how that should work. The community wins because they get a cool item, and the esport wins because they get the money that is raised from that said thing. And hell, even Blizzard wins because they can make money off it, right? Because it's only a percentage at the end of the day. Point is though, if it's not top tier, like Sojourn level quality at least, I'm worried that you would very quickly run into crowdfunding fatigue is what I'll call it. Because if I'm assuming World Cup's going to be back again this year, and I'm assuming they're going to crowdfund World Cup, that would be 3 things this year that will be crowdfunded. It would be the first major, the second major, plus World Cup, right? That's 3 things getting crowdfunded by the community. That's a lot in a single year. And unless it's absolutely top tier quality items, hell, you know what? Fucking take the hammer, break open the fucking Mercy Vault. Go, boom, just do it. Just crack that bitch open. You know what I mean? Like you gotta go all in if you're gonna go this format. Because if I'm quite honest, this prize pooling is kind of alarming with how low it is. Like winning it all is like equivalent to just having like a normal job. You know what I mean? Like, and not even like a super well-paying job, right? Like that's only if like you have no coach, no subs, you know, then you get a decent payout, but like it's over multiple months. So like take that 6K divided by 2, that's 3K a month. You know what I mean? Like that, there's places in the country you're still with a fucking roommate on 3K a month, right? Like obviously there's a lot of places you'll still like do very well, but like follow what I'm saying, right? Because it's also pre-tax, right? Correct. It's also pre-tax. So the stage money is not looking too hot. And if they're going all in on the majors being the big thing, I understand what they're gonna go for at that point. But very, very, very concerned on the level of quality that they're gonna give up for it. Because if it's the same thing as World Cup, again, barring Sojourn skin, I think very quickly you could run into some problems where people are just like don't want to participate as much, and they don't feel like they're going to get their money's worth. You know what I mean? And it doesn't do service to your players. It doesn't do service to your esport. So you really got to come out swinging, and I really hope that they do that. Granted, I don't think that there's not a place for the lower tier like skins. Like, I think that the drop rewards are great. It was good for streamers. It was good for viewers. It was good for people that watched. It was great across the board. Help build some hype. You know, you get free items as well as a free to play game. That's a good. I'm very worried about this, because this is, it feels like Path to Poverty 2.0 is what we were talking about earlier. So obviously there needs to be more info about this before we really go into it, but the stages do not look too good. All right, let's continue. Eligibility. OWCS competition will be divided across 3 major regions: North America, Europe, Middle East, and North Africa, EMEA, and Asia, Japan, Korea, and Pacific. I can't believe Australia got snubbed. That is wild. Each region has a list of jurisdictions considered eligible to play for that region. If you're a legal resident in one of those jurisdictions, you are considered eligible to play in that region as a resident player. If you are not from one of the region's jurisdictions, you can still play in that region as a non-resident player. When constructing your team to participate in OWCS, please know that there are a few limitations when constructing your roster. Rosters may have a maximum of 8 players. Whoa. Okay. So the thing I was giving earlier, the analogy of like 1 sub per role, that's actually the max you can have, which is kind of wild. I guess you have to kind of rethink, like, because of how much money is in it now, you know, you have to not only build the best players, but like you have to build the best player roster you can without having too many players, because you're going to just like dilute your prize pool. You know what I mean? So like, for example, like if you're talking like Overwatch League, right? Like, you know, there was like teams that had like multiple good main tanks back in the day, right? Like they'd have multiple good main tanks, multiple good off tanks, or at least like 1 really, really good off tank, or like 2 of them. I think like Shock at that point. And then like 3 or 4 DPS, and then like another support. So like they had rosters of like 10, 12 people. But now you're gonna have to think about that when you're making your team. Is like, yeah, we might not be flexible on a certain hero. But if we bring in somebody else and they're only a specialist on one certain hero or one certain style, and that style doesn't even pop up, that person takes a cut of your winnings. Maximum of 8 players. All rosters must be at least 17 years of age. Rosters may have a maximum of 2 non-resident players across all OWCS regions. I think it should be 1. I really think it should be 1. 1 non-resident. I think that makes it super, super valuable, and it makes it high stakes. All players on a given roster must have an account in good standing on Faceit, Overwatch 2, and Blizzard Entertainment. International events. We're thrilled to bring the Overwatch esports fans 2 spectacular LAN events as part of the OWCS this year. The OWCS Major at DreamHack Dallas, taking place on May 31st through June 2nd, and OWCS Finals at DreamHack Stockholm, taking place in November 22nd through 24th. Dallas will take place at the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center in the heart of downtown Dallas, Texas, and will feature 3 days of competition in an 8-team double elimination format. Co-streamers are invited to host watch parties and entertain Overwatch fans from around the globe on their own channels. Keep an eye on our official OWCS channels for more specifics on our co-streaming policy coming soon. Hopefully they have something like in arena like streaming, because if they don't, then I probably won't go. But if I can stream from the venue in some way, then I'll probably go. Kind of like World Cup. Although I still have like, World Cup was good. I had a couple small complaints. Like, it did feel weird. And I actually didn't ask Jay about this, but me and Jay, who got to co-stream, Emong obviously was my booth, so like he's kind of looped in with me. But like we were on like the outside of the arena. It's like we had like a separate section with a bunch of extra chairs and like fucking big ass TVs above us. But like we weren't in the arena, so like it was weird. Like all the noise was coming from behind us, and it felt like, you almost felt like kind of left out, but like it wasn't that bad. But hopefully it's a little better next time. But yeah, like anyways, if they have a way to stream from there, then I'd probably go. But if not, then I'd probably stay home and stream it. Attend the OWCS Major in person. You must please note that you'll need to purchase both 1 a general admission and 2 a tournament specific ticket. That's interesting. Faceit. Our goal for esports landscape of Overwatch has extended far beyond the esport itself through our new partnership with Faceit. I can't believe they put Maga on here. That's fucking devious. We want to transform the player experience from top to bottom and integrate new ways to engage the esports ecosystem while that make playing competitively more satisfying, transparent, and rewarding. Faceit will be the first platform to fully integrate into the Overwatch experience. You'll be able to seamlessly configure map and server selections, join a match, and automatically review your in-game statistics, events, and results directly on the FACEIT platform. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. It sounds like it's going to be directly integrated into the game, kind of like how CS is. That sounds really cool. Players can create an account on FACEIT platform and connect their Battle.net account in a few simple clicks. Check out the FACEIT's newest blog for a step-by-step guide on how to set up your FACEIT account, joining your first match, and more. We intend to have FACEIT integration fully live and ready for everyone to use soon, so stay tuned on the new FACEIT OW page on X and sign up for email alerts to be the first in the loop on all things FACEIT. We're excited to bring you all new ways to fall in love with grinding it out on Overwatch. I do find this very fucking hilarious because the worst way to play Overwatch right now is by grinding it. Okay, follow the OWCS Overwatch Esports ads. Whoever edits this, just throw a big old like flats_W or something here. Fuck this. I'm just kidding. We are tremendously excited to kick off OWCS and NA and EMEA and see how the best from around the region answer the call to glory. It means the world to us that the OWCS team would like to bring you the very best esports experience we can. Well, after all the layoffs this week and stuff, we hope that this blog helped answer your question on the 2024 OWCS season. But if you have any more, feel free to contact us on social media at that. Final thoughts on this. Prize pool kind of looks scary. I'd say, honestly, borderline bad. Obviously, the majors are going to be the big one. It depends on what the crowdfunding looks like for that. Depends on how hard they go with it. If it's going to be like literally, if it's not like special skins for it, I don't think that you're doing your fans and your players and your teams and competitors a service. You're kind of just scamming them and using them as a way to run an esport event without having to put up the money, and just basically, skirting around it. Obviously, we'll have to see what the quality of the major looks like, the presentation and whatnot, because also a lot of the observers got laid off, and Overwatch is a really hard game to observe because you have to be predicting what's going to happen, like shots people are going to hit, engagement, stuff like that. That's not easy. So a lot of skepticism coming up in the next couple weeks, I would say, of this. And obviously they didn't talk about the major and talked about the crowdfunding stuff, and that makes me a little bit nervous because when they announced this last week, it seemed really pog. It seemed really good, like hell yeah, this is going to be a really good system. Then they left out the prizing, and then the prizing comes out, and the prizing looks very like Monka W. I'm not sure about this one. And then they're holding off the crowdfunding until a later date as well, which kind of makes me also think, I'm like, oh, are you holding it back because you're like, no, Monka W, like, I don't know if we want to say this yet. Maybe it's a little bit sus, not looking too great, but either way though, hopefully we hear about World Cup stuff soon, and then we have World Cup and this going at the same time. That might be cool, but a little bit less confidence this week than I had last week in it, so we'll see.